This episode is sponsored by the Tiltcats, which can be found at tiltcat.com, also on etchaplay.info, which is a weekly podcast about video games, right along with some reviews that can be found over on their website. The Carousel Podcast, which can be found at thecarouselpodcast.com. Also a weekly podcast, which can also be found on etchaplay.info. But not only does it cover video games, also music, movies, and comics. So check them out. Welcome to this episode review, and I'm back with another review for Mass Effect 2. But this time, it of course is another DLC, which is Lair of the Shadow Vorpal. The pretty much highlight of the trilogy, I guess you could say, of downloadable content outside of Arrival, which I will get into at a later date. So, how do it feel actually figuring out what actually going on with the Shadow Vorpal and Lair, and pretty much tying up what loose ends is left from Mass Effect 1? Is it a good tie-up? Is it a good experience overall, since this is roughly around $10? And as you can tell, is it worth your money? So let's find out in the review of Lair of the Shadow Vorpal. Today we're looking at Lair of the Shadow Vorpal, which is the add-on to Mass Effect 2 for the Xbox 360. You can get the expansion for roughly around $10. To follow the story of the little entwine here, it is a lot of you know that Lair seemed to have been pretty much drooling over the Shadow Vorpal and the mystery behind him and hunting him down. In this story, you actually get to foresee the end to that story arc with a very detective-like story of following all the way up to facing down with the Shadow Vorpal himself. I'm not going to really ruin much of the gameplay sense with it being a detective type of story, but overall this is the best expansion that Mass Effect 2 have had to date, and honestly this is a must play for anyone in the Mass Effect universe. The gameplay itself, the only really new thing that have changed is of course now Lair is a part of your team. Don't get your hopes up. She do not continually stay a part of your team. When the ending happened, you will understand why. But for a few missions, she is with you once again. And the outside of that normal gameplay is now that you have a pretty much a chase scene in the sky, pretty similar to the car scene that you would see in any Star Wars film. The only problem is with this, the controls are not the best, so you get a little iffy here and there, but lucky enough it didn't last too long. Combat and everything is still as great as ever, with a lot of loyal and plot devices, better quality gunfight, and nothing really feels too out of place here. And in lots of ways, this actually feels like they could be a own standalone game, with the gameplay coming in roughly around 5 to 6 hours. So overall, I give Lair of the Shadow Vorpal a 5 out of 5.
And that the cake is just a lie. My friends are Paula, Jeff, and Prue. We're here to